All right, I think I'm live now. It's my first time ever doing something live. There's no one here yet. That's okay. I'll let this go for a second. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nick. I'm a graduate student at Michigan State and I work in the Writing Center. And tonight I'm going to be talking a little bit about our Community Writing Center and some tips and tricks for freshening up your writing over the summer. So I have some things to talk about. But I'll give a couple moments for if any more friends want to jump on. Hi, Grace. It's cool to see some folks on here. It's really cool. Yeah, I hope everyone's had a good Wednesday. And feel free to post questions or comments or highs in the little chat there. I'd be happy to answer any. Six people. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining me. Come on in. All right, I think I'm going to get started. If you're just joining, my name is Nick. I am a graduate student at Michigan State, and I work in the Writing Center at Michigan State. Let me fix my camera real quick. And tonight I just wanted to reintroduce the Community Writing Center to everybody and talk a little bit about what that is, and we have some tips and tricks for you tonight. We wanted to kind of start by thanking East Lansing Public Library in inviting us to the space and to connecting with the community, that we're really excited to be back. We started a little bit in the spring. We did a very brief pilot before the pandemic hit, and now we're ready to kind of help everyone online. We're really, really excited to offer drop-in on Zoom on Thursday evenings from 5 to 7 starting tomorrow. And also we have an email form that I'll talk about in a moment. For the next 6 weeks on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, you can join the Community Writing Center and meet some new faces as we kind of talk about writing tips, and so you all can get to know us a little bit better. Next week, you can join Jennifer, and she's going to talk about resumes and cover letters, and we also have writing to your representatives, SAT, ACT prep, creative writing, college essays, things like that. So we're really excited to be here and give tips and tricks. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, feel free to drop a question in the chat. Feel free to also email us at the Community Writing Center, which is elcommunitywritingcenter@gmail.com. EL, East Lansing. So first I want to talk a little bit about the Community Writing Center. The Community Writing Center is a partnership between the East Lansing Public Library and the Writing Center at MSU. Our goal is to enrich the lives of the East Lansing community through reading, writing, and literacy support and outreach. As a partnership, we're guided by the library's vision of accessibility, community, innovation, and knowledge. This is a space for anyone who wants another set of eyes on their writing. We're happy to read anything from school assignments, cover letters, resumes, job applications, college essays, letters to representatives. We welcome writers from all ages and all disciplines, and we're really excited to kind of reconnect with everyone. I know the pandemic has been a really harsh time for us, so I am happy to work for a place that's really committed to social justice, and however we can help the community, we're here for it. So there's two big ways that the Community Writing Center is here for you in this time. First, starting tomorrow, you can RSVP on the East Lansing Public Library events page, but we'll have drop-in hours from 5 to 7. So all you have to do is register, and you'll get a Zoom link, and you can hang out with me, Grace, and one of our undergraduate consultants, Fatima, and we can help you with whatever you need. If you need help with brainstorming, we can help you brainstorming. If you have something you want us to look at, we're happy to look at it. If you just want to talk and catch up, we're happy to do that too. So I'm really excited to get to see some folks. If you can't make Thursdays, that's okay. We have some other options, which is a Google form where you can kind of ask what kind of feedback and what kind of help. And in the next day or two, we'll send you back some feedback, and we can do it in a variety of ways. You know, we can add comments into a file. We can give you some audio comments. So you'll get a little MP3 file that's like a minute or two long. We can give you some paragraph responses. And again, it's for any kind of writing. So it can be, cover letters if we're job seeking, but also creative writing and things like that. And if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to pose a question in the chat, but also you can email us. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to, and I just said this, post it in the chat. The next thing I want to talk about briefly is what this was advertised as, which is refreshing your writing skills over the summer. So the Community Writing Center team kind of did some research about what's the best way to freshen up our writing skills during this time. And the summer is always a weird time, I think, because we often, lose our habits during the we lose the habits that we usually have during the academic year. Particularly, I know me particularly, I was writing a academic paragraph the other day. I struggled through it because I'm so used to writing reports and emails and things over the summer. So it was such a change. So everybody, needs help refreshing their skills and having a new eye to things. So we have a couple of tips and tricks and practices that you can kind of try to engage in. And if you have some of your own, feel free to drop them in the chat, of course, or reach out to us at the Community Writing Center. We'd be happy to hear how you keep your writing fresh over the summer, particularly when we don't have assignments and things like that for kids. The first writing tip we have is to know your writing process. One of the biggest things is that writing is different for different people. We have different life experiences. We have different, experiences with writing. The identities and the bodies that we bring to our writing is very different from each other, and that's okay. And based on where you live and what you like to do and how you like to work, will shape your writing. I'm a person that really likes to write in the middle of the day. Some people are night owls. I have a friend who really likes to write through the night. That's not me. Some people like to write with coffee, with water, with music, without music, with friends, alone. Those are all cool and valid. And it's cool just to make sure you know what works for you. Sometimes we work with students and we're like I can't write, at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, well, we'll try writing at 6 o'clock at night, right? There might be different things that work for you. And different writing tasks might involve different kinds of material things, like different music, different times of day, different places. So you can always try to freshen that up. So just go somewhere, go outside. That's always a cool way to freshen up your writing process. So that's the first tip. The second tip is to journal or blog. Writing is a practice. That means it's like an instrument. So you have to do it a lot in order to, hone those skills. Keeping a journal of your thoughts is really kind of a useful thing. I have one here. It's mostly jottings, but I journal this way. Some people blog. Those are all really good ways to kind of not only practice writing as a thing that you should do, but also it's a good way to kind of capture stories and capture memories, particularly in this world that we're living through. It's really good. And we've seen lots of activists do something very similar. That makes us think about what's happening in our world and think about those things. So blogging and journaling is really good. If you don't know what to write about, I'm always this person. I never know. I just sit down and I start typing and something comes out. But if you really want any kind of guidance of what to write about, there's lots of websites out there that have a prompts today. Here's one that I found today that you could potentially do is to write about being friends with somebody. And that might be a really cool thing to do. You can always also email the Community Writing Center. We'd be happy to give you a prompt for a day. We will probably Google it, but we have lots of prompts and lots of ideas to think about. So we were super happy to do that. So the third piece of advice that we have is to read. Stephen King's famous advice is that good writers do two things. They read a lot and they write a lot. And the last kind of comment was about writing a lot, but this one's about reading a lot. And reading for me is something that I really enjoy to do. And that when we're writing, even if you're writing an email, it'd be cool to read a poem or read a story to kind of get into a different headspace. That kind of helps us pay attention to language and helps us shift perspective better. And I found when I'm stuck writing and I'm I don't know, I'll read something like Sylvia Plath's one of my favorite poets, or Langston Hughes, one of my favorite poets. So I'll read a poem and I'll recognize I'll bring a different energy to the thing that I'm writing, and it makes me pay attention to language a little bit more. And our I don't know the next tip number. I think we're at 4. Our fourth kind of tip is to get away from screens. I don't know about you, but I am surrounded by screens, I think, for at least 8 hours a day, sometimes 10 hours a day. And it's a lot. And I think the Zoom fatigue's a big thing. Being on camera all the time is a really big thing. So one of the things that I would suggest is to get away from screens and to know that different kind of writing is different. That doesn't make any sense. Different kind of writing means different things. So it's not only is it an essay, is it email, it's also jottings, it's also drawings. Doing those kinds of things, writing on actual paper might actually really help you get insight and perspective for some of those things. And I'm almost done here, but the last piece of advice that I have for you is to write to somebody. One of the biggest pieces of research in writing studies is that we need to write to authentic audiences, readers. We're always writing to readers. So what better way to write to than someone? And it can be your friend, right? It can be relatives. You can write letters by hand. You can send emails. There are actually lots of great places like Love for the Elderly and writeoncampaign.com that you can send letters and emails to that can kind of support folks who might really enjoy a letter at this point in time, and that might really lift their spirits, which would be great. You can also write to us at the East Lansing Community Writing Center. And again, our email is elcommunitywritingcenter@gmail.com. So those are kind of the tips that we have prepared for you. If you have different tips, that's super cool. Feel free to share them with your friends, share them with us. We'd be happy to hear. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. This was super cool. I was really nervous, but it seems not too bad. So remember that our first Community Writing Center drop-in is tomorrow from 5 to 7 on Zoom. Be sure to RSVP on the East Lansing Public Library page. I hope you'll join us in the same spot next week at 7 p.m. on Wednesday for Jennifer to give us some insight about writing resumes and cover letters. I hope to see you all soon. It was really exciting to reconnect with you. But if you have any questions, feel free to kind of drop them in the chat. I saw some other people just pop on the live, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the Community Writing Center. But please write. We're here. We're ready for whatever you all might need. And if there's no questions, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday evening. And it was really fun to hang out with you tonight. And if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat.